everyone. So here we are with another topic for all of you. If you have not watched our previous videos where we have discussed some other topics like forecasting, simulations, then please go and watch this. So now we are here to discuss network diagram, that is a part of project management. The topic is project management, in which we will be learning about network diagram. This is something very interesting. You would love to do it. You will enjoy doing this type of thing, and it might seem easy to you. But there are some things that you ignore, due to which you think you are very confident with it, but yet you lose marks in these type of topics. So let's first understand the rules or the things that are very important that gets ignored due to the easy part of this. Okay, so we will be discussing the rules about the network diagram, and then we will be going to the examples and sums. So let's begin. So what is a network diagram or what is a project? You know, for any project we need a series of processes or activities that needs to be performed to result into an event, whatever is required. So say for a network diagram, we will be having two major things. What are those two major things? The two major things, the first one will be activity. That is the process. This will involve some time consumption. And the next thing is event. This is the result of the activity. Okay, so in any of the network diagram, we will have both of this, activity and event. Okay, so now let's begin with activity. How we represent activity in a network diagram? The activities in a network diagram is represented by arrows. It can be this kind of arrow, it can be this kind of arrow. These are the arrows that it can happen. It can be this kind of arrow, it can be this kind of arrow, and this can be this kind of arrow. These are the few arrows that you can use in your activity. But remember, you can never use this kind of arrow. No, that is wrong. You can never use this kind of arrow or this kind of arrow. This is wrong. That is what we do mistake in a network diagram. You can never use this kind of arrows or this kind of arrows. Okay? Or this kind of arrows. These are wrong. These are wrong. You can never use these kind of arrows. These are definitely wrong. So always be careful. You can use only these kind of arrows and not backward going arrows or any kind of designed arrows. So that is the first thing for an activity. Whereas in case of event, event is represented by circle. That's it. There is nothing to this anymore. You can only represent it by circle. No square, no triangles and nothing else. Okay. So next thing. What activities? An activity should always lead to an event. Whenever an activity finishes off, we reaches to an event. So event is the result of an activity. So any event will have an activity before it, or any activity will have event after it. A project is completed only when all the activities or all the events related to gets completed. Okay? Please note these points. I am not writing it on board, but you can listen it, just pause it and write it down, because these are very important points for all of you. So whenever you make a line to represent any activity, the name of activity will always be represented above the arrows. So if this represents activity A, then write it A. You never write A here or A here. This is wrong. This is correct. So the name of activity will always come above the arrow. That is representing that activity, not after or before this arrow. This is the another rule. The duration of any activity, the time that an activity takes, say it's 5 hours or 5 days or 2 hours, 2 days, that comes just in bracket beside the name. Okay? Don't write it here and there or in any other format. Just write the name of the activity above the arrow, and in bracket you will write the duration of that activity. Any activity will start from an event and will end on an event. There will always be an event that will lead to starting of the activity and will lead to the end of an activity. The activity can never be independent of any of the event. It will have event on the both sides. In case of events, The first and the last event will always don't have an activity before it. So if this is the first event, it won't have any activity before it. Or if this is the last event, it won't have any activity after it. But in between, if you have multiple events, this will have activity before and after it. But in case of activity, it will always start from an event and it will always end to an event. So you can write it as an activity will always have two events. The event at the end of it is called the head event. This is head event. And the event at the tail of the activity will be the tail event. Since this is the tail of the activity. So this is the tail event and this is the head event. It is always different. If you are getting confused, let me write it as F. So these are the two events, E and F. F is the head event, E is the tail event. Activities can be of two types, parallel activity and sequential activity. So say if you have two parallel activity, this is an event, say E is the event, you have activity P, you have activity Q, this is leading to another event, this is leading to another event, then you have another activity, then you have another activity, another event, or you can have same event coming here. So two activities coming together from the same event can lead to parallel activities. And what is the sequential activity? That is very easy to you. This is P, an activity, then this is Q, another activity. This is sequential. So this is parallel and this is sequential activity. A succeeding activity can start only when all its preceding activities gets completed. Let me repeat it. A succeeding activity will start only when all its preceding activities are completed. See, in this example, let me say a succeeding activity. See, we have one activity coming from here, three activities coming here, okay? So these are activity A, B, C. Suppose A takes 5 hours, B takes 6 hours and C takes 9 hours. So our next activity, let me do it in another way. This will lead to multiple activities. See, activity A is coming from another event, activity B and activity C. Okay. These three are also called merging event. We'll discuss it. And these are all leading to start of another activity. And now this will have B as an activity. And then, so here we have coming from multiple events are three activities leading to another event. Then it will lead to another activity. So this is a succeeding activity. And these are the preceding activity. So for any succeeding activity to start, we need to first finish all the preceding activities. So if this takes 5 days, 6 days and 9 days, we can start D only when all these three are completed. That is, we can start D after the 9 days. We will take the maximum of it. So we will start after 9 days. Okay? So, a succeeding activity can start only when all the activities preceding to it gets completed. An activity can be represented only by a single arrow. Never use two arrows or more than one arrow to represent a single activity. If you are representing activity A, don't bifurcate it twice. You will say this is activity A and this is again A. No, this doesn't make sense. You will have a single line for one activity. Okay? And one more thing, the length of the arrow has nothing to do with the duration. See, if you are representing activity that takes 5 hours, an activity that takes 2 hours, There is no sense of the length of the arrow. 5R can be short, 2R can be long, or both can be of same size. 5 and 2. So there is nothing linked with the length of the arrow. Length of the arrow is independent of the duration of the activity. So what are the merge events and the burst events? That is what I need to discuss. Let me erase it. Okay. So now I was going to show you what are the burst events and the merge events. In the burst events, say burst event, also called as divergent event. In this event, you will have multiple activities coming out of a single event. Say, this is an event, okay, event E. Here we will have multiple activities coming out of it. Activity A, activity B, activity C. This is the burst event or the divergent event, where multiple activities comes out of a single event. And the next of it is merge event. In this we'll have multiple events merging to a single activity. See, these are multiple events which is merging to a single event, multiple activities A, B and C. Multiple activities coming to a single event is called merge event, and multiple activities coming out of a single event is called divergent event. This is also called as convergent event. Okay. So now we will discuss some golden rules of it that leads to errors sometimes while preparing these kind of network diagrams. So rule number 1, there should not be any dangling event. Dangling event means what? Dangling event means any event that is not having any kind of activity after it. That is a dangling event. Obviously the last event we won't have any activity after it. But except for the last event, we cannot have any activity, any event that is not having any activity after it. Say if we have sequence of events, E, that is leading to activity A, then we have F, then we have G as another event, H is another event, I and J. These are the sequence of events, activities A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so this is the first event, this is the last event. For last event we can accept that it is not having any activity at the end of it, or for the first event we don't have any activity before it. But except for the first and the last event, you can see all other events in this thing. We have having any activity that is before it or an activity after it. We should have both of it. But except in G, you can see G. In G we do not have any activity coming out of it. So this is wrong. That is called a dangling event. G is a dangling event here. We don't have any activity coming out of it. So this is a dangling event. G is a dangling event. This is wrong. We cannot do this in our sum. In any kind of sum we won't have any dangling event. Even if the question has certain conditions like that, and you see that as a result you are getting any event that is not having any end to it, or having any activity that is taking you to the last event, then you need to correct it. How you can correct it? You can insert a dummy activity. Dummy activity. What do you mean by dummy? Dummy means not real. The activity is not at all real to us, since it is not as per the question or as per the situation we are given, and it won't have any time duration. We know all the activities have a time duration, but since this is a dummy activity that we will be inserting, that has no real existence, so it doesn't have any time consumption as well. So we will bring in a dummy activity, which is represented by dotted lines. Don't make it a constant line. Since it is dummy, it will be dotted lines. That shows that it is imaginary. So this will be a dummy event. We can write it as Y. Say Y. Y is a dummy activity which has 0 hours. Okay, this is called as dummy activity. This is rule number 1. But remember one thing, never use dummy activity unnecessarily. Don't fill up your diagrams with the dummy activities. That is not required. Try to be very accurate with your diagram, and if you really see that there is a need of dummy activity, then only insert it. That is the rule 1. Please get this noted. Next is, let me write it down, the next one. Rule 2. No two activities can have same head or tail. Same head and tail. What do you mean by head and tail? We have discussed it earlier. Head represents the activities at the end of the event at the end of the activity, and tail is the event before the start of the activity, right? So no two activities can have same head and tail events. No two activities can have same head and tail events. Okay? This will again lead to a duplicating error. This is also known as duplicating error. Duplicating error, because that activity will be duplicated, then that doesn't make sense. So we can never have this kind of activities. For an example, let's take the same example. We have E, F, H, then again we have This is not correct. Obviously, you can see from the diagram, you know this type of arrow is not allowed to be used. So it is not correct, very simply. Okay, let me write the names of the activities. A, B, C, D. Okay. So that is from the very clear from the diagram that something is wrong here, because we cannot use this kind of arrows. But yet if the question or if the situation given to you has that kind of demand, or it is given that both B and C activities are starting from F and is ending to H, then you have to draw this kind of thing, which is not justified. As per the arrow also it is clear, and as per the rules also, we cannot have two of the activities, that is both B and C, having same head and tail events. So this is wrong. So what we can do in this kind of situation? We will insert a dummy activity as well as a dummy event. So how you will deal this? We will have one here. We will create a dummy event. This situation we will have a dummy event. Okay. So C will be coming to it. Obviously we will have a dummy event, that is ED. Let me write a dummy event as ED. Okay. So this will be a dummy event that will make it different. So now the rule is satisfied. We do not have both B and C having both head and tail at the same time. These two are having different heads. So we have followed this rule. And the last rule, which is the most important one, and that is a mistake that we mostly do. This is a very common mistake that we do. What does that thing is? Any succeeding event should not have a number less than the preceding event. Didn't get it, right? If the event, we number the event as 1, 2, 3, 4. So the event number 4 should not go before event number 3. So any succeeding event should be either after the preceding event or just in the same line. See, for an example, rule number 3. Events should be numbered. Events should be numbered in such a manner that events should be numbered in such a manner that no succeeding event comes before preceding event. Example, say event number 1. This is leading to event number 2. Now event number 3. Event number 3 can come either here or it can come here. It can come here. It can even come above its head. There is no harm coming above its heads, below its heads or before it. But it cannot go on this side. Coming to this side, if we write the event 3 here, this is wrong. If we write event 3 here, this is again wrong. So the event 3 can never be before event 2. Whenever you make a diagram, be careful that the next event can never be before the earlier event. It should always be on the right side or just in the same line. That is rule number 3. So please get all these rules noted down, and whatever we have discussed till now, all these noted very carefully. These are very important rules that will help you not to get your sums wrong in your exam. Let's begin with the sum. Let me take an example for all of you. So this will be the question kind of thing, example like question. We'll have activities. See, in this activities will be like 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, like that. 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5 and 4, 6. 4, 6. Okay, so this is the sequence of the activities. Yep. So you will think that in the last video we discussed the activities is represented by any kind of alphabet like A, B, C, D. Then why there are two things in it, right? 1 and 2 both are there, 2 and 3. What does this mean? These are actually events. So the activities are here represented by head and tail events. So this is the pattern of question where you have activities are represented as events. So all the activities that you see in the right hand side is the head event for that particular activity, and all this here is tail event. So for this activity, say 1 to 2, it is the head event and this is the tail event, and 1 to 2 is an activity. Okay, you can name it on your own, but for this question we have given this information, for which you have to give a network diagram. So if you want, you can try it on your own. Let's do it together. Okay. So how you make the network diagram? We have 1 is leading to 2 and 2 is given to 3. So from 1 to 2 we do not have any preceding activity for 2 or any preceding event. So we can straightly write as 1 is leading to 2. Okay. Event 1 is going to 2. But from 2 we are having 3 events. This is what? This is burst event. So from 2 we have 3 events. So 3, 4, 5. But also see, from 2 we have 3 events, but from 5 is coming out of 3 events. That is 2, 3 and 4. So you need to be very careful in understanding it. One other tip that I would like to give you for making any kind of this sum or network diagram, start with pencil. Try the diagrams, erase it if you get it wrong, try multiple times with pencil, and at the end if you reach to the correct diagram, then just make a pen one. Don't start with pen, never. You will find it very challenging, and if you do it multiple times in your exam paper from pen, scratching and doing again, scratching and doing again, that will make your answer sheet very dirty and will give a negative impression to the examiner. So do it with pencil whenever you prepare this kind of network diagram. So we will prepare it in such a manner so that are both the conditions. See, for 2, here we have 2 is something that is a burst event, but 5 is something that is a divergent event. Okay, for 4 also you need to see. So we have repetitions for these numbers. So you have to be very careful in trying these kind of sums. So let me try with you. Let's take 3 here, okay? Taking 4 here and taking 5 here. In this also remember the last rule, the rule 3 that we discussed in a previous video. You cannot make 4 here. If you make this arrow short and bring 4 here or 5 here, that will again lead to an error, because the rule 3 says that never the succeeding activity can come before the preceding activity. So the number 4 can never be on the left side of number 3, or number 5 can never be on the left side of the number 3. It can be only in the straight line or just on the right side of it. So remember to follow the rules whenever you make the diagram. So in this, if we see 3, 4, 5, from 2, 3, 4, 5 is coming. Now we have to see from 3, 5. How you can take 3 to 5? We can do this. 3 is going to 5. Then 4 is going also to 5. Is it possible to bring 4 to 5? No. This is not the correct way to do it. And then you need 4 to 6. Okay. Then 4 to 6. And you will go to 6. No. This line is making it wrong. This that you are driving to 4 to 5. This is wrong. So this is not possible. Then what? What again combination we can try? Let's try it again. Let's try it again with you all. Let me erase this. And now let's try. This is all about trial and error. But you need to be very thoughtful whenever you try it. Don't be very quick in it, because it can also lead to waste of time if you do it without thinking. So let's see. We tried 3, 4, 5. But since 5 is also coming from 4 and also coming from 3 and also from 2. 5 is coming from all of these sides. Let's keep 5 in middle. Okay. So 2 is leading to 5. So 5 is in the middle. And now let's number it as 4. Okay. And this one is 3. So we are satisfying this rule. From 2 it is going to 3. From 2 it is going to 5. From 2 it is going to 4. Please let us know if you have any doubt on this thing. Okay. Yeah. So these rules are satisfied. Now again 3 to 5. We can do it right this way. 3 to 5. 4 to 5. Yes, 4 to 5 can also come this way. And then 4 to 6. 4 to 6. Then again you will see what are these two. Which rule or which error this is coming to? This is leading to dangling error. How it is leading to dangling error? Because we have read that no event can end without an activity except for the last. Here the last event is 6. So this is fine for us that 6 is not having any activity after it. But after 5 we do not have any activity in this question. But we cannot leave it like this way. So we need to create a dummy event for this. So this is a dummy event. From 5 to 6 is a dummy event. Dummy event. Okay, so in this sum we have covered all the 2 types of error that we have studied. What are those? Dangling error and the last one, where the number should be on the right side, the succeeding number. Okay, do copy this diagram. So let's take another example. In this type of question, the question is in a different pattern again. In this you will get activity and the predecessor activity. So we will have activity here and here we have predecessor. The activity before this activity. Okay. So A, B, C, D, E. These are our activities, and the activities before this. We won't have any activity before A and B. For C and D we have activity A and B, and for activity E we will have C and D. Okay, these are the names of activities. These are not at all the events. In the last sum we got the head and tail events. In this we have predecessor activity and the activity. Using this, try to draw the network diagram. So let's do it now. From activity A, which activity should predecessor? Okay, we do not have any activity before A, so that's fine. We do not have any activity before B, that's fine. But before C we have A, and before D we have B. Okay, so activity C should come from A and activity D should come from B. So let's take an event 1, activity A and activity B. Okay, this is leading to activity event number 2 and event number 3. Activity C and A. So from A is the predecessor of C. A will come before C. Okay, yeah. So the C will be the next event for A. So let's keep it. Okay. Since C and D is both coming to E, okay, let's do it together. See, we have kept C here and D here. Okay, this is event 4 and 5. Now we are having C and D both coming to E. How can we make C and D both to E? If you do it this way. See, we need E as an activity, not as an event. So these two are different activities. These two have the same activity. Since C and D should follow by E. So this is not correct. We need a single line here, single arrow or single activity. So this is again went wrong to us. We need to follow the question very carefully. So how we can do it? See, practice will help you do this perfectly. Okay, no one will learn it in one time. If you practice it, then you will get to know. After A and B, let's make C this way and D this way. A is to C, B is to D. Event 4 came this way, and now we have a single line here E that is leading to. Check all the conditions are satisfied and there is no error. All the 3 errors are not there, none of them, and all the conditions are satisfied. A and B, C is before, A should be before C and B should be before D. A and B, C is after, A is before C, B is before D, and E should have C and D as predecessor. E should have C and D before its predecessor. So you have everything done here. It's clear to all? If you have any doubt, please let us know in the comment box. We also have a Telegram channel. In the link description below, you can find the link to the channel. Do get there, and if you have any doubt, you can come there and ask us the questions. Let us know if you like the video, and once again, please subscribe our channel. Thank you.